Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to the IABA 2020 Annual Meeting Plus. Of course, I'm Chris Cooper once again, and I'm so excited to be with you all. And just so I can check to make sure that everything is functioning, if you could just go ahead and just give me a okay in the chat box to let me know that you guys can hear me, or in the Q&A area, either way. Just want to make sure that I'm audible. Excellent. Hello, everyone. Hello. So, okay, good stuff. I love it. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to get started. I definitely want to be respectful of your time. So once again, guys, I was really looking forward to looking at you, seeing all your lovely faces in Philadelphia. But as we know, things changed, and this COVID crisis and global pandemic and all that kind of stuff has definitely changed the way in which we operate. So I am so excited to be with you guys, even virtually. And as you know, for those of you that have been around me for quite some time over the years, I'm very low energy. So I hope that you all are dialed in. I've done this session a couple of years, actually for several years, in different ways. And I always like to give you nuances and different things. And given where we are right now, I've been asked by a lot of different companies to do some work on being virtually visible and how to, even be promotable during the pandemic. And so today's topic, we're talking about personal branding, but I'm really want to tell you how to unleash your superpower. And when although I may be referring to your academic or your professional career, I believe that you can utilize this information in all aspects of your life. So let's jump into this. Once again, the theme of this year's conference, of course, is a clear connection. And as I said today, it is all about unleashing our branding superpower. So having said that, let's get started. Now, I would like to welcome you to the new age. Understand that nothing is normal. Let me say that again. Nothing is normal. So throughout the time today, you might want to write some things down, jot some things, talk back at me in the chat, because I need that love and that information flowing back and forth. But I want to welcome you guys to the new age, because guess what? Things are not going back to the way they were before. So we've got to understand the importance of redefining ourselves. If you were just on the live session just now for the virtual kickoff, where Madam President, Miss Tanisha Magruder, and myself shared a quick story about a glass of water and holding a glass of water over your head. But more importantly, what I was talking about was the fact that we have to adjust and we've got to change. And there's three things that I said that are critically essential during these times. And that's been the first three R's. The first R is simply we have to reflect. Reflect on what's important. I mean, guess what? When it comes to personal branding, reflect on what your brand is saying, even behind your back. Next thing, refocusing and realigning your efforts toward going after what you desire and what you want in your personal life, in your professional life, in your academic life, and beyond. And the last thing is reinvent. And I hope that the nuggets that I share with you today will be able to assist you in reinventing and learning how to do things differently, because different times, unprecedented times, require different types of solutions. So let's jump into this. So I learned two very important lessons in life. Number one, no one hears you until they know you. And number two, no one cares what you know until they understand how much you care. So let me back into this. I believe that you guys would know, those that have been around me for a little bit, I love you guys. You are literally, I will go on record, my favorite organization that I have the awesome pleasure and privilege of serving. As I said, this is my 10th annual, if I'm not mistaken, Kate can correct me, but I believe this is my 10th annual meeting with you guys. And I have just been just ingratiated in your culture and this amazing feeling, this incredible profession. And I'm so grateful to have the ability to actually serve you. So I think you understand that I care. But let me back into the first question about who I am. So for those of you that I'm getting the awesome pleasure of meeting for the first time, hey guys, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'm what they consider to be a lifestyle and procrastination expert, which means I help folks just like you, entrepreneurs as well as professionals, stop quitting, stop procrastinating, and start succeeding in business in every single area of their lives. Now, as you can see on the left, there's a picture of me when I was pretty small. As I said, I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where we would have been for this annual meeting. And I'm going to tell you, I think my story is not unlike a lot of inner city kids. My mother had me when she was very young. She was only 16. And my family was very adamant about the fact that I would grow up and I would become a statistic and I wouldn't do much. But my mother said that literally when she was carrying me, that God told her that I would grow up and do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is speaking life into the lives of individuals all across the world. And ironically, my mother's actually here visiting this week. So give it up for my mama. virtual hand claps, right? So anyway, I say to say is that, you know what, but I think that I definitely grew up. I grew up not necessarily with my biological father in my life. And I went through kind of all of these rejection feelings and these wanting to understand why he wasn't there and why things were the way they were. But it wasn't until I had the awesome opportunity of getting out of Philadelphia. I'm coming right now where I live in Atlanta, Georgia, to the amazing Morehouse College and the Georgia Institute of Technology. And as a result of that, I was able and capable of just really learning that, guess what? It doesn't matter who did what, when, where, why, or how to you. It's what we are going to do to change the lives of other individuals all across the world. So having said that, guys, I am so happy and so pleased that, guess what, much like all of you guys in the STEM, I found my mission. I found my thing in the STEM profession. And I found my way. I got a math degree from Morehouse, industrial engineering degree from Georgia Tech. I went on to do some incredible and awesome things in corporate America. And as a result of that, it really challenged me and it really pushed me to understand quite a few things, understand the importance of problem solving, understand exactly how to literally position myself to have an enormous amount of success in corporate. I was very fortunate to become a very young junior executive with a technology company at 25, 26 years old, got promoted 3 times in 18 months. And I learned so much about people. And the best thing I think that I learned is exactly why we're here today, as we talk about this whole concept of personal branding. I understood that my reputation had to precede me, and I had to be so many things to so many people, and I had to make sure that I understood, and I'm going to talk about what a brand is in a second, what my brand was saying behind my back. So let's continue. So I feel like you guys feel like you know me a little bit, right? So let's jump into this, and I want to really, really hit on this. So today what we're going to do is we're going to cover what I consider to be a complete guide, A to Z, to personal branding. And it begins with number one, this. What is a brand? So a brand is a culmination of a logo, visuals, identifying identity program, messages, products, actions. It's all these types of things that ultimately come together. And the second part is that I think the brand, to me, is the perception about a company, about a person, and about an idea. Look, let me tell you something. Whether you realize it or not, write this down. There's a thing called the 12 by 12 by 12 rule. And what it says, check this out, guys, is that people judge you from 12 feet away, from 12 inches away, and by the first 12 words you say out of your mouth. I'm going to say that again. It's called the 12 by 12 by 12 rule. And individuals judge you from 12 feet away, from 12 inches away, and by the first 12 words that you say out of your mouth. So I say it to say is that, guess what? Your brand is speaking and is much louder than you could ever imagine. Because guess what? If we were in a physical room and I saw you, I would get an impression of you from 12 feet away. Then 12 inches away, we're close enough to actually shake a hand. And then by the first 12 words you say out of your mouth. So I definitely implore you all to make sure that we're saying the right things and that we're presenting ourselves in a way that really matters. So as today, I feel like we should have an S on our chest because we're about to unleash some superpowers as we go through this. So for those of you that may know me well, I love like poems and quotes and different types of things to really kind of get things going. But today I'm gonna do something a little different. I want to share with you kind of this personal branding breakdown, but I want to break it down in something that you are all familiar with, which is simply the alphabet. And it goes like this. Let's start with the A. So let me first, actually, before I begin with that, let me explain to you what the personal brand of the actuary is. Now, for those of you that may have been around for a few years or what have you, we had an event one of the annual meetings, and one of the speakers said this, and I thought it was so profound, and it stuck with me. And he talked about, they talked about the actuary brand. And it says that the actuary brand itself is basically, you guys are the firefighters of financial risk. Did you catch that? The firefighters of financial risk. Now, what does a firefighter do? When there's an issue, when there's a problem, when there's a fire, they come in. Guess what? They're prepared. Number one, guess what? They're suited up, right? They have protection. Number two, guess what? They have equipment, right? That's available to help them put out the fire, right? Douse the flames. And that's what you guys do when it comes to financial risk. You use your quantitative abilities, your qualitative abilities. You use, all those things on the test that I have never taken, and I don't envy you guys for taking those exams, all that stuff that you put together, and you're literally firefighting and putting out financial risk. And the best part about it is that you're going to get paid, and paid well, and compensated well for doing just that. So understand that as an actuary, the actuary brand as a whole is one of being a firefighter of financial risk. Now, I want to break this down to the basics, and I want to give you guys, like I said, a bunch of different information, a bunch of different things. So when we look at the basics, let's start with A. So when you think about your brand, right? When you think about your brand, you think about who you are, you think about where we are. I want you guys to understand that the A is simply this: authenticity. Understand this: building a brand around requires quite a bit of soul searching, right? In this process, you'll likely learn a lot about who you are, what you value, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and so on. These are all the elements of what I consider to be your authentic self. See, when you're working on your personal brand, you got to be sure to tap into each of those potential layers, those things that make you, guess what? Uniquely you. I'll never forget this. One of my mentors, one of my first coaches and speakers that I loved and looked up to, he taught me this, and I will never forget it. And I hope that you guys write it down. Guess what? I'm giving you guys all kinds of tweetables. I know that I'm virtual. I know I can't physically see you, but you can see me. And I hope that my passion and my power is going to flow through this screen and really grab you. So if you guys are tracking with me, somebody say, yes, I'm with you. Type it in the chat box. Let me make sure that y'all still with me, because I'm about to drop some nuggets. So tell me that you're with me. Yes. Okay. I'm all ears. Yes, I'm with you. Perfect. I'm with you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. All right. So I love this quote from him, and it was so powerful. And he said this: "You were born original, so why live like a copy?" Did y'all get that? You were born original, so why live like a copy? So when it comes to really articulating and creating your personal brand, think about those questions. Who you are, who are you, right? What do you value? What's important to you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And so on. And more importantly, understand that at the same time, you were born original. So why live like a copy? So that's the A. So I hope that resonated with somebody. And if we were at church, I would pass a collection plate. So let's move on. The next thing. So that's the B, right? As I said, this is all the alphabet. So you know kind of what's coming next. I know you guys don't like a lot of surprises and stuff, which is why you're in this profession. But track along with me and we're going to make it happen. So B stands for your bio. Now, I know this may sound weird. I know some of you guys are college students, some of you guys are career changers, some of you guys are seasoned professionals. So it's a mixture of you. But I wanted to make sure that this presentation transcended each of those particular levels and gave you what you desired and what you need. So when you talk about your bio, is this: your professional bio, check this out, provides a clear and concise summary of your professional background that can be used to represent you across a ton of mediums, right? Whether it's a blog, a post, social media, first impression. Let me tell you this: first impressions are lasting. That's why I told you the 12 by 12 by 12 theory. The trouble is that most people fail to keep it updated. A lot of people just fail to keep their bio updated. And because they fail to keep it updated, I do this the way I talk to my children a lot about when they're working in like Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or Excel. And I always say this: say frequently and often. So you want to update your bio frequently and often, just like your resume. You want to update your resume, guess what? Frequently and often. I learned this lesson a long time ago, and it was simply this. It was: be willing to stay, but ready to go. Always keep your resume current. Now, understand this, especially given the wake of all of the things that are happening all across the globe. And I think it's very critical Very important for you to lean into this, to this notion that and sad to say that the days when individuals were with companies for centuries, for a long time, has changed, and it's and the demographics are changing, and the workforce is changing. So I always say, guess what, guys? And I'm not telling anybody and don't worry, employers out there, I'm not telling your employees to leave you. But what I'm saying is that you should always be willing to stay, but ready to go. Always keep your resume current. Once again, that's a Chris Cooperism. Disclaimer, this is not on behalf of the International Association of Black Actuaries, so you don't blame them. Next thing, C, consistency. Now, I'm going to tell you something about consistency. Consistency is everything, because write this down. How you do one thing is how you do all things. I'm going to say it again. How you do one thing is how you do all things. So, when I talk about consistency, I'm saying this. And like I said, once again, this is the context of personal branding. I hope this is helpful. I hope that you guys are tracking with me. Understand this. Thanks to the internet, everything is about discoverability. I'm going to say it again. Thanks to the internet, everything is about discoverability. So for example, one example of how to exercise consistency in your personal branding would be to align your username across all your social channels. For instance, me. I'm Chris Cooper. All of my stuff is Chris Cooper Live. My website is Chris Cooper Live. I'm at Chris Cooper Live on Instagram, on Facebook. It's a little bit different because somebody had messed it up, but it's like Chris Cooper Live ATL, right? On Twitter, on everything. All of my things are aligned. So if you're looking for Chris Cooper Live, you will be able to find Chris Cooper, and that's very important to me because that's my brand. This approach is also more memorable, and it makes it easy to search for you. And I'm telling you, let me check this out. Whether you realize it or not, people are always watching. Write that down as well. Whether you realize it or not, people are always watching. And because they're watching, you want to make sure that you're giving the best representation possible of you across the internet. I'm going to tell you this as well. When it comes to consistency, and people, people don't like to hear this, but I'll break it down for you, is that guess what? The internet is forever. Write that down. The internet is unforgiving and it is forever. So you want to make sure that you are putting the right information. So if I Google your name, Rita, Jeff, Sandra, Josh, Emmanuel, I want to make sure that when I Google you, that it is consistent with who you are, what you represent, and ultimately, you know, your aspirations and all those types of things. So I hope that everyone definitely takes that note. And I wanted to sit there for a second. Consistency is key. All right, let's move on to the D. The D is all about this direction. So I'm going to tell you this. Like I said, I've had the awesome pleasure. I didn't jump into more of my professional background. So I stepped out of corporate maybe almost 15 years ago, started my own company. The company is called Execute Your Passion. I do three things. I coach, I train, and I speak. Organizations bring me in to transform their teams, to transform their leaders. I have clients that hire me to help them do just this, getting clear on who they are, what they want, and how to ultimately get the things they desire and they want. I focus kind of in the business arena, in the personal and life coaching area, as well as the executive coaching area. Also, I coach individuals that are like me, that are coaches, trainers, speakers, authors, looking to monetize their message and turn their passion into profit. But I'm telling you all of this is because I've had the awesome pleasure of serving literally thousands of individuals across the world on 5 different continents. And I'm going to tell you, one of the secrets to everyone's success, and I'm going to tell you this, write this down. Success always leaves clues. I'm going to say it again. Success always leaves clues. And one of the things that I've learned and that I've seen so many times is that when you're clear, as Iyanla from Iyanla Fix My Life, if you're clear about everything that you want and who you are and what you desire and how to get it, you will ultimately basically speak those things into existence. I believe in the law of attraction, and you will attract the things that you need in your life, the resources, the people, the situations, etc. But getting clear is so critically important. So many individuals, as I say, are cluttered, not only mentally, not only physically cluttered, they're also mentally cluttered. So one of the things that you have to do when it comes to personal branding, set the direction, right? You know, this is about having well-defined goals. This is about having a long-term vision. This is about, you know, utilizing a handful of vehicles to drive ultimately that vision forward. So direction is key. All right, let's keep rocking. All right, so E, I love this. Evolutionary. This is huge. So I'm going to talk about some cool brands in a second. But let's talk about this. Evolution is real. And if you do not evolve, I'm going to tell you, one of the laws of the universe basically say that which does not contribute will be eliminated. I'm going to say it again. That which does not contribute will be eliminated. So when it comes to the evolutionary nature of this personal branding concept, I want you guys to really hunker in and grab hold to this, because I want to tell you this, whether you realize it or not, write this down. Change is inevitable. Did you hear what I just said? Change is inevitable, but progress is optional. I'm going to say it again. Change is inevitable, but progress is optional. So what does that mean, Chris? So what it means is that things will change. That's the one thing. Look, guess what? COVID happened. Everything changed. Businesses changed. The way we eat, the way we shop, the way we speak to people, the way we greet people, everything has changed. So at the end of this pandemic, at the other side of this, we have a conscious decision to make. Will we be better or will we be better? Will we have leveraged this time? The thing that we said we were looking for, we didn't have enough time. Now you have all the time in the world. What are you going to do with it? Do we have the proper discipline? And in that discipline, that's why I said that progress is optional. But guess what? Progress is a choice. So therefore, we can choose to be evolutionary. Look at these brands. I know you guys have seen the Old Spice brand. Old Spice has been around for a long time, but now they have like this really cut up, black guy that wears no clothes sometimes. He says Old Spice, and he makes it like kind of sexy and cool all over again. Once again, they were evolutionary. They weren't going to allow their brand to exist as like an old man brand in the past and bring it, make it contemporary, make it up to date, make it hip. Instagram has done it. I mean, oh my God, how many times have they changed the Instagram icon even on your phone? I'm like, how many things, and they added new features. Remember, Snapchat was doing some stuff. So now Instagram took some of those features and then Facebook and all that. I mean, just understand that there's this evolutionary nature of brands to redefine themselves, to get out there. And you should also be doing the same thing. Write this down. You should always be doing this. #level up. If you're with me, somebody write in the chat, #level up. We should all be leveling up. We should always be becoming better. We should always be doing things differently. We should always be looking to learn, to grow, to be challenged. Level up, level up, level up. I love it. Thank you guys. Level up, level up. So when I think about this, I also think about Apple. Apple doesn't sell just, I'm on it. Look, I have a Mac keyboard right here. I got my MacBook Pro right here. I got all this other kind of stuff around here, but they don't just sell devices. What do they sell? Lifestyle. Guess what? People will wait in line, even during Corona, if they could, for the brand new phone, for this type of stuff. And it will create an interactive, way in which we can really make some awesome and incredible things happen. Hey guys, I'm sorry you guys couldn't see me. Hello. I didn't realize that my video wasn't on, so I apologize. I've been rolling through this stuff. So now you guys get to see the man behind the voice. Yeah, everybody saying hello. It's good to see everybody. My apologies. Thank you, producer. My producer let me know about that. See, that's some of the things that happen, on the spot. When we break down, technology, right? And we're doing a virtual experience. Welcome to the Annual Meeting Plus. So once again, as I was saying about Apple, they sell lifestyle. So it's important, as you can see, that your personal brand strategy has to be one that pivots and changes according to what is required during these times. So as you develop new skills, you might evolve your brand, right? It may reflect that. Similarly, as certain mediums for promoting brands fizzle. Let me tell you something. I'm really big on this. So I've written 2 books. I was very fortunate to write 2 #1 best-selling books. If you kind of saw that on the first slide. And one of the things that I realized is that in writing those books, I tried to write them from a very strategic perspective, because guess what? I knew the tactics would change. So if I give you a concept, like I just said, of that, change is inevitable, but progress is optional. And if I told you that the change meant that you have to do X, Y, and Z, well, guess what? What if X, Y, and Z goes out of style? I got to be able to show you Q, R, and P, right, and some other types of things. So understand that your brand has to be evolutionary, and you got to evolve with things, because once again, that which does not contribute will be eliminated. So let's keep rocking. I'm so sorry, Kate. I apologize for not being on the video, but I'm glad that everybody can see me now. So now, focus, right? The F stands for focus. Understand this: Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your personal brand, neither will your career, neither will any of that kind of stuff. Let me tell you, everybody that says they're overnight success is a lie. You didn't see all of the work that they did behind the scenes. It's like the tip of the iceberg, right? You all have seen that graphic where the iceberg is about this tall, right? The top of it. But if you look at the bottom, it's huge. And that's exactly the way that success happens. That's the way we ultimately move forward. So understand that Rome, as I said, wasn't built in a day. So don't expect overnight results. I'm big on an acronym that I use, and it's simply this: F is for follow, O is for one, C is for course, U is for until, S is for successful. Follow one course until successful. Because I think so many times we get, as I call, goal schizophrenic, and we become like squirrel, 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 and you're looking all around and you're doing all types of things. So I think it's critically important that we understand that we got to focus, follow that one thing, follow one course until successful, and then you can duplicate that success, because as I said earlier, success always leaves clues. All right. Are y'all tracking with me? Are y'all with me? Somebody say, I'm with you. All right. Are we good? All right. I'm with you. I'm with you. Fantastic. All right. I hope this information is helpful. So let's keep rocking. Let's go to the G. G is about growth. Let me tell you something. If you're not growing, you are dying. Thank you. Very helpful. I'm loving the comments. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Understand this. Look, at the same time, you got to understand this. Consider that the skills you already possess and the skills you want to build to advance your brand, right? You got to consider that. You got to think about what you want to do better, how you want to do it better. If you have a fairly large skill gap, right? As a coach, what I do is this: I close the gap from where people are to where they ultimately want to be. I close the gap between where they are and where they ultimately want to be. And if you have a fairly large skill gap that you want to fill in order to achieve your desired outcome, it's important that we plan. It's important that we prioritize. It's important that we understand this, that if you're not growing, as I said, you're dying. So we should always be looking to evolve and to become better and to do better. All right. So that's growth. All right. Let's keep rocking with it. H, human. I'm only human, right? Understand this. I had a problem with this. And I'm going to tell you, because I know a lot of actuaries are indeed achievers, overachievers. Anybody that takes that many dang exams has got to have some type of thing inside of them that makes them want to achieve and want to raise things. So as high achievers, oftentimes we, as I say, we don't embrace our own humanity. And I understand that, Beyonce would say, I woke up like this. you got to understand your flaws, and however you are. I love you. I love you the way you are with all your flaws. Be honest about yourself. In a poem that I do, I always say the L in the poem says, love yourself first and most. So I believe that we have to, even if you, as you're building your personal brand, you got to be human, and you have to embrace that humanity. I learned this a long time ago. I said, you know what? Although Chris Cooper may be super, he doesn't have to be Superman. Because guess what, guys? Lean in. Check this out. Let me tell you a secret. People don't want superheroes. People want real people. They want individuals they can relate to. They don't want something that seems completely unattainable and so far out there, and it makes them question if they can achieve or if they can do those types of things. So understand, that you are only human. The I is about introspection. You got to look deep. You got to look inside yourself. You got to be the captain of your fate. You got to be the captain of your soul, right? You got to understand, you got to look deep, and you got to not be afraid to ask yourself those hard questions. Take a deep look inside and decide what you are all about. What do you want? This is my favorite question. One of my favorite questions is this. And I did it today before I got on here with each and every one of you guys. And that question is simply this. I ask myself a question. And the question I ask myself is basically, who do I need to become to attract what I really want in my life? I'm gonna say that again. Who do I need to become to attract exactly what I desire, what I want in my life? And I think it's so critical that you take that second to ask that, not to chase after what I want, but literally to magnetically attract what I desire and what I want in my life. See, it's time out for living for other people. You got to live for yourself. And I know many of you guys may have gone into different professions or gone to school and studied things, but the actuary profession is not one that you do because somebody else wants you to do it. You've got to want it. You've got to be able to establish yourself well in this career path as well. So let's keep tracking. Y'all with me? I just want to make sure that y'all still alive. Y'all still with me? Somebody say, I'm with you, Chris. I got you. I got you. Please talk to me. All right. So let's go into the J. The J. Okay, I love it. I'm getting different people. I got you. Awesome. The J is about joining. Now, this is huge. First of all, if you're not, well, all of you guys are members of the IABA, but I want you to encourage other people to join and become members of the IABA community, because I'm going to tell you, there is power in connection. Did you check that out? There's power, write this down. There's power in proximity and there's power in connection. I'm dropping so many nuggets today. I hope you guys got your pens going. There's power in proximity and there's power in connection. So when it talks about joining, what I'm talking about is joining a community or group centered around something that you're passionate about. You care about, guess what? The fact that less than, we'll say approximately 1% of actuaries are Black. Think about that. That is a huge gap, right? We'll talk about the gap from where we are to where we want to be. 1%, we've got to change that. And the only way we change that is through awareness and through encouraging other individuals that look like you and look like me to look at this profession and understand. So when I talk about joining, I want you to be passionate about something, right? And think about this. By joining organizations like IABA and other organizations, and of course, you know, the SOA and the CS and all this other kind of stuff that you're a part of, you got to develop new skills, right? It allows you to develop new skills. It allows you to improve your ideas. It allows you to establish yourself as a resource, and it allows you to really gain inspiration. And if there's nothing that I hope that I'm giving you this morning, I'm giving you tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff, but I hope that I am awakening and igniting the fire inside of each and every one of you guys to go harder than you've ever before. I told you already, your 2020 is not canceled. Stop listening to the news. Stop listening to everybody else. You can make this your greatest year. You can make this your greatest career. You can make this your greatest life possible if you make a conscious decision to make that happen. Oh, y'all got me going this morning. I hope y'all feel me. Y'all got me going this morning. So I want y'all to understand this. We're going to go on to K, and I know I got to get through this stuff. And if I'm going too fast, just let me know I'm going too fast. But I really want to make sure that we get through this, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I know you guys are at work and all that kind of stuff. So knowledge. In many cases, your personal brand, check this out, is rooted in your knowledge in any given area. And knowledge can go a long way in helping you establish credibility within the profession or with an audience. See, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not only knowledgeable about one of the other things. Let me tell you, one of the things that really worked for me in corporate America, and which made me very different and unique, was that although I had the technical skills, I also had the soft skills. So I was able to marry this. I became what they call techno-functional. I was able to be the liaison between the business side and the technology side. I was able to be the one, the front man, I would say, in front of individuals when it came to presentations and it came to selling ideas and it came to marketing and it came to sales and it came to operations. So I made myself invaluable. My personal brand inside of the corporate world, and ironically now outside of the corporate world as well, is that I was known as Mr. GSD, Mr. Get, okay, I'm not going to say bad words today, sugar, honey, ice, tea, done. If y'all don't catch it, y'all catch it on the way home, right? But I was known as that, and that was my brand. Chris was the one you could rely on for getting things done. Whenever you need to make sure that things were happening and flowing and that kind of stuff, I was that individual. So I encourage you all to acquire and implement all the knowledge that's possible, all the knowledge that's out there. But understand this, and I think that we've all heard this, and we've heard it, and it's been misused, I believe. And I'm a little different, okay? But we were told before that knowledge is power. And I'm going to tell you, I challenge you, knowledge is not power by itself, because Because if you do nothing with that knowledge, you become what I call intellectually constipated. I know, I'm sorry, no, it's lunchtime. I shouldn't be talking like that. But at the end of the day, what I want you guys to understand is that knowledge is not power by itself. That's right. Understanding is key, Calvin. And basically, the application of knowledge is powerful. Write that down. The application of the knowledge is indeed powerful. And I'm so excited to be able to hopefully share some knowledge, these nuggets that I'm giving you today, so that way you can implement, do something with this information, so that way you can be the best, you can unleash your superhero, and you can do some awesome and incredible things, not only for yourself, but for your respective companies and for the profession as a whole. All right, so let's keep rocking. L, leadership. Wow, the big L. Now, check this out. Anyone in a leadership position will tell you that personal branding comes with territory. You will be known as the leader that's a jerk, that's hard, that's benevolent, that is empathetic, that's what have you. Leadership, guess what? Personal branding comes with territory. I'm not going to get political, but unfortunately, one of the leaders of the United States in particular, his personal brand has definitely, yeah, we're going to leave that alone. Anyway, his personal brand it precedes him, right? And I think that it's also going to follow him as well. But okay, so let me just ask you a question, and you can do a show of hands, or you can just type yes in the chat box. How many of you guys believe that perception is reality? I'm gonna wait and see how many of you guys agree with it. Okay, I see some hands going up. I see some hands going up. I see I agree. I see yes. 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 Awesome. Okay. All right. Now we'll lower everybody's hands. And now I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys believe that perception is not reality? Okay. I see a few. Hey, Francis. I see some few out there. Yeah. I see some things. All right. Excellent. All right. Okay. So guess what? Now, once again, Chris Cooper, I'm a little unconventional. I'm a little different than the normal. Yes, Calvin, it is a trick question per se, because guess what? Perception itself is not reality, in my opinion. But check this out. A person's perception is their reality. So guess what? It's up to us to make sure that we are portraying the correct reality. Did you catch that? Make sure that we are portraying the correct reality. So understand that your personal brand and how you manage your brand is indeed just that. It's you managing your perception. You're managing the perception so that way individuals are indeed, got me. Got me understanding exactly what's, has us understanding exactly who we are and what we're about, and that perception that you're putting out there is the real you, right? And what you want to put out there, right? So let me check this out. So this means, guess what? When we talk about leadership, this means knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses. Guess what? Weaknesses are not a bad thing. Write this down. If you don't like the word weak, I know people feel some kind of way about weak. Write this word down. Opportunity areas. Areas for you to actually improve. So what I've learned is this. I told you guys in a little write-up, I would tell you the 1% secret that would transform your personal brand, your career, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to tell you, it really comes down to this one thing. And I know people are so, hell-bent on your IQ and how smart you are and all that kind of stuff. And that's great and that's wonderful. But let me tell you something. The important thing that you should be concerned about is also this. It's not only just your IQ, it's your EQ. Ooh, boy. Chris, what is your EQ? EQ stands for your emotional intelligence, right? And when we talk about emotional intelligence, I'm talking about all the other things, the soft skills, everything else that makes you uniquely who you are, everything else that causes you to become who you are, such as the way you understand information, how you receive feedback, how you communicate with people, the empathy that you have, how self-aware you are, how socially aware you are, and all of these types of things. And when I talk about that number one secret is emotional intelligence. And one of the things that I've built out are some programs specifically for technical individuals like yourselves to really help them amplify their emotional intelligence and understand that I have to give, so I call them soft skills for technical professionals, right? Because you may be very good at all of the semantics and all of the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But when it comes to the softer skills, and I'm going to tell you what's going to take you to the C-suite is not your IQ, most likely it's going to be your EQ, okay? Emotional intelligence. So all these aspects contribute to your leadership style, which ultimately plays a role in defining your personal brand. All right, I got to keep rocking. I know I'm running out of time. So let's go. M, let's talk about this, your mission. Your mission. So when it comes to personal branding, defining a mission statement that is specific to your professional development can be super effective, okay? An actual mission statement. Here are the questions, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to write these down. The first one, what are your personal and career goals, right? Or your personal career goals. The second question, what core values do you hold? Now, why is that important, Chris? Because guess what? When it comes to you job searching, I know you guys are going to be interacting in these virtual chat sessions with these potential employers. You got to find out, are their values aligned with your values? See, because as my brother Nana Coleman, I'm going to put him on the spot, said, I love it. It's not always just about the quote unquote, cultural fit. It's more so about the cultural add. Did y'all catch that? It's not necessarily just if you fit with our culture, it's do you add to our culture. So all of these employers are looking at things differently, especially during COVID, because they have to think and they have to hire differently. So think about, when you understand what your core values are and you understand what your personal goals are, think about what is your cultural add? What will you add to the culture of the organization? What are you ultimately bringing to the table that's different or unique or special? What does success look like to you, right? What are you most passionate about and why? These are key questions when it comes to your mission that you should ultimately be looking to dive into. All right, we're going to keep rocking. The N, networking, right? The big N. Everybody thinks that they're good at this, but most people are not. Most people are not good at this at all, and they make things up. And they and they think that they're good. So let's talk about what networking really is. And I put two quotes up here from networking books. One is about how to improve your life, and the other one is about is networking magic. And the first thing says this: networking is the process of developing and maintaining quality relationships that enrich your life and empower you to ultimately achieve your goals. I'm human, I got a typo, right? Networking is the process of developing and maintaining quality relationships. See, a lot of people think that networking is just showing up and talking to a lot of people, getting a lot of cards. Now you're getting virtual cards, attending these virtual meetups and that kind of stuff, and just getting. It's not about getting. Networking should be a two-way street. So not only it's a process of creating and developing those relationships, but it's also about maintaining those relationships that enrich your life. The other thing you'll see here is networking is the process of building and maintaining relationships. Implicit in networking is the understanding that there will be a giving back. As I said, an exchange. If you do for me, I will also do for you. See, I'm sure that many of you guys have heard this before, but they talk about your network is going to be equal to your net worth. Ooh, I'm gonna say it again. Your net worth is going to be equal to your net worth, because the law of association is real. You become like the 5 individuals that you associate with the most. You're 20% of each of those individuals. So who's in your Fab 5? I tell people all the time that, the way you think, the way you dress, the things you do, what if you want to do, look at the people around you. They say birds of a feather flock together. And understand that when you're talking about net worth, I said you better find some rich friends, because if you are the richest person in your group, then you probably need a better group. I'm serious. You probably need a better group. The next thing, because you need to always be hashtag level up. Somebody write in the chat once again, hashtag level up. That's what this is all about. Hashtag level up. So the other thing that people have heard about this is this. I want everybody to understand this, is that it's not necessarily what you know. And people say it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And honestly, I agree somewhat, but I feel like it's not only who you know, but I think it's also who knows you. Ooh, write this word down: sponsor. Sponsor, sponsor, sponsor. And there are individuals in your corporations, there are individuals in organizations that will be a sponsor, an advocate. That's right, Calvin, an advocate, an individual that will speak up for you when you even can't speak up for yourself. So when those conversations are happening, and let's be honest, we're in a global pandemic. We're on the threshold of an actual financial downturn and recession, and people are getting laid off and things are changing. So guess what? You want to know who knows you, Who's in that room that can represent you and say, no, 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 no. We need Ruby. No, we need Ariel. No, we need Andre. We need Angelica. We need Azriel, right? We need these individuals. So it's important to understand that it's not about necessarily who you know, but it's about also who knows you and who can step in on you and help you. The next thing is openness, right? You got to have an openness, a willingness to, as I would say, to learn, to grow, and to be challenged consistently. Learning means that you're teachable. Growing means that if you're not growing, as I said earlier, you're dying. And then also being challenged consistently, because that also, guess what, guys? It helps you to hashtag what? Level up. The P, let's keep rocking, guys. Passion. I love this. My company is all about passion. I look at passion as like fervor, fire, zeal, boundless enthusiasm and effort. It's what wakes me up in the middle of the night and what won't even let me lay down on my pillow. See, you have to be able to, even through your personal brand, you have to be able to portray that passion through three things. Through written words, right? You have to be able to express it, whether written. Number two, you got to do it through spoken word, right? When you're actually speaking. And then thirdly, you got to do it through your actual presence. You just literally being who you are. But passion is enough. Let's keep rocking. Q, quirkiness. Man, let me tell you this. I love this. One way to infuse your personal brand with a little individuality is to lean in. Check that out. Lean in to your quirkiness. I'm quirky. Look, pink, pow. You know, I'm quirky. I do different things. I lean into it. It's fun. It allows me to authentically show up and be myself and be comfortable in the skin that I'm in. Your quirks, those little things, I'm going to tell you, they set you apart. Just be you. Like I said, and on the first slide, the A, you were born original, so why live like a copy? Let's keep rocking. Next thing, reputation, right? When it comes to reputation, understand this, your personal brand efforts, there are two key areas that you want to focus on: your online reputation and your offline reputation or presence. Your online presence, guess what? Can and will reveal a lot about you, about your work, and what it's like to work with you. Your offline reputation is determined, more so by several factors, including the quality of your work, the way you treat other people, the way you respond to feedback, and the impact that you've made on the lives of others. I love this. When I was going to business school, I only applied it to NYU and Harvard. And what I loved about Harvard in particular was that, they talked about that their leaders leave an indelible mark on society. Indelible, right? I have to look that word up. What does that mean? It means that it's a lasting impact, something that transcends everything and allows individuals to understand that I was here, that I mattered, and that's very important. And I think that when we talk about our online and our offline reputation, you got to make sure that you want to leave an indelible mark, that you want to make an impact, you want it to matter that you were here. Let's keep rocking. S, social media, boom. This is huge. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, understand this: for so many people, personal brand and social media go hand in hand. If you want to establish a social media presence, you got to make sure that it's the right kind of presence. You don't want to see people Googling you and seeing your picture in the club, right? Nothing wrong with going to the club. Everybody should enjoy themselves, but that is not what you want a future employer to see when they're looking to potentially onboard you. That being said, use your social profiles and social media to your advantage, because like I said, the internet is unforgiving and it is forever. So tips that I always say is, look, follow people that you admire, right? What types of content are they posting? How frequently are they posting? How do they engage with their followers, right? Make a note of their strategy and you can duplicate it. Why? Because as I said earlier, success leaves clues. Next thing, align your title, your username, your headshots, all those platforms to be the same. And as I would always say, post frequently and often enough, not to be obnoxious, but just to kind of keep people engaged, especially if you desire to be more of an influencer of sorts. Now, we're browning it out. Now we're on T. Now, T is so important. Trust, trust, trust. A great way to build trust and advance your personal brand is to ask those who have a strong professional relationship with you to write a recommendation or a testimonial that you can use across as a supplement to your resume and across websites and social media accounts. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing better than looking at a LinkedIn recommendation. You guys should be getting LinkedIn recommendations from individuals. So that way, people that can share their experience of working with you, who you are, what you're about, all that kind of stuff. Video and written testimonials are always great things as well. Now, here we go. Your unique value proposition. I know I'm going, Kate. Let me know how much time I still have. So unique value proposition. As a professional or a student, what problem do you solve? Like, who are you, right? What problem do you solve? Guess what? In business, I'm gonna tell you this. I've been doing an entrepreneurship camp for the last 3 weeks for young Black men. Next week, I'm doing one session for young Black women. And in that session, I've asked them, I tell them, you know what business is? All business is about is getting paid to solve a problem. So I want to ask you, what problem do you solve? I already told you the actuary brand as a whole was a firefighter of risk, right? A firefighter of risk. So understand that it's so critically important that you have to understand, even as a professional or a student, what problem do you solve? What value do you add? Remember, I said that you want to be a cultural add, not a cultural fit. And how do you make that difference? I want you to think about this. Think about your unique value proposition as the differentiator, that people will use to evaluate your personal brand and determine what makes you the most qualified person to do X, Y, and Z, the most qualified person to bring into my organization, the most qualified person to promote even during a pandemic. You got to use this on your resume, in your LinkedIn summary, on your professional website, all these types of things. The visibility. And I'm going to tell you right now, virtual visibility is everything. You're not physically in front of people. So there's a couple things you have to do. Now, I'm going to tell you real quick. Don't have people guessing what you're doing. I'm going to give you all a free resource, since I know a lot of people are working from home. So in a minute, I'm going to give you a website. You can download it. It's a cheat sheet. And I called it my work from home success strategies cheat sheet. And in it, it breaks down some things that are critically important to making you effective and efficient at being when working from home. So being virtually visible is so much different than being visible. People are not able to see you on a daily basis. And you don't have to Zoom people to death, and you don't have to overdo it. But there are a few things I want you to understand that, once your foundation or personal brand has been built, it's time to spread the word. And right now you have to spread that word virtually. So number one, if you're working for an organization, I recommend, even if your boss is not asking for it, give them a weekly synopsis of what you've worked on, what kind of value you've added over that particular week. Number two, make sure that not only your boss, but your boss's boss understands what's going on, because once again, the objective is not to be stagnant, it's always to grow and to challenge yourself. So make sure other people are aware of the work that you're doing and the additions and the value that you're creating and that you're adding to the culture of the company. Another thing, do actual check-ins like this. I know you guys said y'all couldn't see me the first 20 or so minutes of this, but get some video time with your management and with your leaders. If you're a leader and you have a team, get some video time. It doesn't have to be an hour meeting. Nobody wants an hour Zoom meeting. We all have Zoom fatigue, but a 15-minute check-in would be appropriate. If you're in leadership, check this out. I need you to check in with your people, not check on them or check up on them. Did you get that? There's a difference. Check in, not only, check in. Yep. Yeah, Calvin. Yep. The scaled agile framework, SAFe, is also a great thing, right? Yeah. Jira and Confluence, right? Letting individuals know exactly, what you're doing, how you're doing it. Some people use Slack. Slack is a great tool, and you can have channels set up that way. So there's so many different tools and techniques out there that you can show that you're virtually visible, that you're adding value without being obnoxious. One of the best ways to increase your visibility is through strategic content strategy, right? Where you're focused on delivering your unique value through these mediums, no matter what. If you're talking about outside of the workplace, you can do it on blog posts, email campaigns, video content, webinars, etc. You got to get the word out about yourself. I told my young entrepreneurs, I said, if no one knows you're in business, you're not in business. So even if you're not in business and you're in your career, if no one knows who you are and what you're doing, you're really not working your career effectively. Let's continue. We're almost there, guys. I promise. W, you got to be well-rounded. As I said, I was fortunate enough to attend Morehouse College, and we always talked about this Renaissance man. And we had to be well-spoken, well-read, well-traveled, all these different types of things. And well-rounded, I think, is so critically important. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't get me wrong. There's an advantage to knowing and owning a niche, being known for a specific thing. Don't get me wrong. There's always power in that. However, I'm going to tell you, knowing a little bit about a lot of things will definitely make you relatable. And it allows you, guess what, to network more effectively. It allows you to be able to really kind of move forward and move the envelope. So I believe that you should be well-rounded. X, and we cheated, the X Factor, right? Y'all remember that show? Similar to your unique value proposition, this X factor is the thing that you bring to the table that your competitors or other folks in your industry do not, right? You got to think about this as your very own disruptor. So I want you guys to think about that. In your personal brand, what is your disruptor? What is your X factor? What is unique, special? What is it about you that makes you just super dope and super amazing? Why, right? Why? As I would say, why are you? You are unique of all of God's creations. Nothing can replace you. But also year. Why stands for year, right? Make a conscious effort, guess what? To update all of your personal assets, your resume, your bio, your LinkedIn summary. You know, if you're an author, your bio, your personal website, all do that on a year. I mean, I'm saying a year, but do it multiple times a year. I'm just using why because I had to find a word for why. But do it once again, as I said, say frequently and often. Update frequently and often because you never know when opportunities will present themselves for you to be able to display your brand. And we're going to round it out with Z. As I always would say, zero in for your target and go for it. At the end of the day, guess what? Those that get what they desire and what they want are those that have the audacity to ask for it, to plan for it, and to ultimately go after it. So having said that, guys, I went through a whole lot of things, but I want to leave you guys with these final things. And I know that some of you guys may have to jump, but if you do have to jump really quickly, wait 1 second. I want you guys to get that cheat sheet. Just go to chrisondemand.com. That's www.chrisondemand.com. It'll prompt you. You'll be able to download it. You'll get that information. So I want to make sure for those of you that have to leave exactly at the top of the hour, that's where it is. For those of you that can stick with me for a few minutes, please rock with me just a little while longer. But those of you that have to go, once again, www.chrisondemand.com. Now, here we go. So the last things I want to leave you is number one, your attitude and mentality will ultimately determine your altitude, right? So when it comes to personal branding or success in general, understand that your attitude and your mentality is important. I believe that success is 80% psychology and only 20% mechanics. So understand that your mindset is everything. Your mentality, your attitude is going to literally determine the trajectory of your career as well as your life. The second thing, experience. Check this out. As I said, success leaves clues, but more importantly, other people's experiences can be the best teachers. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. They're honestly, most times they're not any new ideas under the sun. You can add on and build upon other people's experiences. I said the knowledge already. I said knowledge is not power. It's the application of power. It's the application of that knowledge, which is power. I talked about the law of association. I said you become like the 5 people that you associate with the most. The 3 things that I think that everybody should always want to do, whether it's in a career, whether it's in your profession, whether it's in school, whether it's in your relationships, you should always be looking to do these 3 things. Number 1 is to learn. Somebody type in the box, to learn, to learn. Number 1 thing you should always want to do is you should always want to learn. Number 2, you should always want to grow. Somebody type in the box, to grow. To grow. You should always want to grow. Somebody type to grow. Because like I said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And the last thing you should always want to do, I'm gonna see how many of y'all can type this fast. You should always want to be challenged consistently. So right, challenge consistently. And we may give a bonus to somebody that spells challenging consistently right. I love it, guys. You guys are awesome. But those 3 things I think are so important. You should always want to learn. You should always want to grow. You should always want to be challenged consistently. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this. I know that these exams, I know that this is not an easy course. I know this is not for the faint at heart. This profession is not made for those that throw in the towel. So I want to encourage you. I want to push you. I want to love on you virtually, give you a big virtual hug. And I'm saying this in the screen right now. You can do this. You will do this. You will pass those exams. You will get your designations and you will change the world and you will allow us to close that gap between where we are and where we want to be to ensure that we increase the number once again of credentialed Black actuaries, because we understand that you guys are the firefighters of risk. And at an unprecedented time like this, we need you more than anything. So having said that, guys, it has been an awesome pleasure to speak with you. Kate, let me know if I have time to take a few questions. I will stay on. I'll stay on if you guys have any questions for me. But once again, I would love to be of assistance to you. I'm going to give you a quick cheat sheet. Like I said, you get your free work from home success strategies cheat sheet at www.chrisondemand.com. That's CHRISONDEMAND.com. All my contact information is on there. C. Cooper at Execute Your Passion, Chris at Chris Cooper Live. Websites, executeyourpassion.com and chriscooperlive.com. Also, my office number is there. So I hope that this was very helpful. Oh, and we do have time. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. So I have time for some questions. So I believe that we do have a Q&A box. So if you guys will gladly type your questions in the Q&A box, I would love to be able to answer them. Oh, thank you guys. Thank y'all so much for the love. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure that this was useful for each and every one of you guys. I know it's virtual, a little different, but I'm glad that the session was great. Make sure you do the survey when you leave, so that way we know the kind of information that you guys love. So, all right, I'm ready. Shoot questions away. I know I said so much today and I went so quickly. Kate, I'll also make sure that we archive this presentation. I know it's going to be available for replay, but I'll make sure you guys can get the notes because I did kind of go quickly, but I wanted to over deliver if I could today. All right, questions or comments or queries? Did we unleash your personal branding superpower? I got a question. Did I give you guys some actionable steps that you can take immediately to work on your personal brand? Somebody tell me yes in the chat box. All right, I see it. Oh, here's a question. Okay, with social media, is it not helpful if you prefer isolated life for your progress? Do you have to be an influencer? Okay, so let me break. Okay, I want to make sure I get that question. And I'll repeat that second question. I said success is 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. Miss White, Elisa White. But back to Lindsay's question. Lindsay, I'm sorry. With social media, is it not helpful if you prefer an isolated life for your progress? Do you have to be an influencer? No, you don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be anything that you don't want to be. But I'm going to tell you, as a professional, you want to make sure if there's any medium, right, that you want to ensure that you are showing up and that you are portraying the correct reality of yourself, it's going to be LinkedIn. You have to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is absolutely spectacular. Because I'm going to tell you, when it comes to professional networking, LinkedIn is the place. So I'm not saying, so guess what? You can keep your Snapchat and your what's what everybody doing, the TikToks and all that kind of stuff. You can keep all that to yourself. You can even change your name on that and make it not even your name so people can't even find you. But I definitely encourage you that you don't have to put your whole life on LinkedIn, right? Or any of these social media things. But I think that when it comes to managing your personal brand, the most important thing that's going to be pivotal to your success is going to be your LinkedIn profile and making sure that that correctly portrays who you are as a professional for your professional brand, and everything else you can take offline. Does that answer your question, Linz? My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, I'm on here. Let's come on, y'all. You got me. We're gonna have a lot of stuff. Okay, if you are now starting, where do you start from? Okay, I see this. All right, if you are now starting, where do you start from? Okay, so let me tell you this. Okay, so I assume, let me see, I might be wrong, but I'm probably assuming that question is someone that's kind of new in their career and they're just starting. They're trying to figure out this whole personal branding and all that kind of stuff. So the number one thing I'm going to say is this. You should make sure, if you want to be successful, specifically as an actuary, you are number one in the right place. What I would do if I were you, if I was brand new to this profession, brand new to this world of actuaries, et cetera, I would find me a mentor. I would get involved with, we have lots of programs here at IABA where we actually match you up with a mentor. We have a lot of student-driven experiences, and that's your first place for getting started. They will tell you about what it takes to, to have the exams. I know many of you guys are going through the boot camp, right? It'll tell you exactly the do's and the don'ts, and it will help you begin to understand who you are. And not only who you are as an individual, but who you are even as an aspiring actuary, and begin to get clarity about what you like, right? Maybe you don't want to go, on the insurance side. Maybe you want to be more consulting, so it's going to allow you to kind of figure out your path. So that way you can find how you fit into this overarching career and this particular profession. So the first thing I would do is definitely, if I'm first starting, I would get a mentor. I would make sure that I'm tapped in. I will make sure that I attend all. I'm telling you, IABA does some of the most amazing programs that I've ever seen in my life, and I'm so grateful, to just be a part of this machine. I would say that is really, making a difference and making an impact. So I would definitely get tapped into a mentor. Get clarity, ask questions, ask. Never be afraid to ask questions. And as you build your personal brand, you'll see. You'll find your quirks. You'll find as I would say, your swag, and you'll position yourself to be successful. I hope that I was able to answer that. I know that was from an anonymous attendee. And I think that's what they were looking for. Thank you, Ruby. Good delivery. I like it. Thank you. All right, more questions, guys. I'm here. You got me. Sorry about that. All right. We're going to give you 5. See if anybody's still typing. 4. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We got some more. Okay, got it. All right. Rita, what are some good examples of qualities that would make one different or unique, causing us to stand out to employers? Okay, so number 1, Rita, I would definitely encourage you, like I said, to work on your EQ, work on your soft skills. Understand right now, one of the things that I said is this. I said, one of the biggest things that I noticed that allowed me to stand out was that, guess what? I, number 1, took ownership. I was showing initiative. I volunteered for things when I was in corporate. I made sure individuals understood who I was and what I stood for. When you do certain things like that, it really makes you stand out. If there's a specific thing that you like, right, that you gravitate toward, be that person that is able to display that quality. For instance, even if it's like, okay, let's say something completely unrelated to dancing. I mean, unrelated to actuaries. Let's say dancing. Let's say you love dancing, and if let's say that some of your coworkers understand that you're dancing, and you can say that, well, you like dancing because dancing is a form of communication, and when you're dancing with your partner, you're learning them. You're learning how they move. You're learning how to ultimately, how to actually match and mirror. And you can say, guess what? All of these types of skills are skills you need in corporate America, are skills you need and even if you're an entrepreneur, mirroring, right? Mapping, right? Being able to actually understand and appreciate people for their differences. And dancing allows you to kind of experience that even in your body. And that would be something that really allows you to stand out. Speak up, right? Raise your hand, take ownership. Show people that you're clear. Let me tell you this. I'm really big on this, especially in this climate right now, where companies are finally taking notice to Black Lives Matters and they're taking notice to Black employees. This is your time. If ever there was a time for you to shine, this is your time. Stand up, raise your hand, show them that you're doing the work, show them that you're going above and beyond. Tell them that you want to be promoted. I know it sounds scary, like, oh my God, I don't want to ask for promotion, Chris, when they're laying people off. No, understand that, guess what? There's always room at the top for the best. There is always room at the top for the best. And I've been seeing a wave of individuals of color, specifically Black individuals, that have begun to get promoted over the last couple of months because they haven't been afraid to ask for it. They stepped up, they showed how they were. And I hope that definitely helps you, Rita. Thank you so much for that question. Next thing. Hey, Chris, as a professional, how do you portray both your specialty or passion and your generalizability and your flexibility? All right. So, Ariel, great question. So, as a profession, now, once again, like I said, I'm not an actuary. I don't know all of the intricate details of where we are, but I want you guys to understand this. I know that certain individuals in here are individuals who are able and are capable of having a specific specialty. Like when it comes to, I don't know, property and casual, boom, you're the person. When it comes to workers' comp, boom, you're the person. When it comes to compensation, boom, you're the person. So guess what? You can stand out in each of those particular areas. But understand that, guess what? Write this down. You don't want to be a one-trick pony. So even though you understand compensation, it might be great to understand a little bit of property and casualty. Even though and I hope that I'm doing okay with these terms, guys, because once again, I'm not an actuary, so I'm just going with it. I'm just an engineer, math degree, industrial engineering degree, MBA. Sorry. But that's a great way to do it. So show that you're flexible enough and that you have other skills in addition to what your specialty is. For me, in my profession, my specialty is procrastination. I help people get off of their you-know-what and actually implement and make things happen. But guess what? I'm also an expert when it comes to leadership. I'm also an expert when it comes to communication skills and all these other types of things. So I'm not just pigeonholed to only being the productivity and procrastination guy, if that makes sense. Awesome question. Thank you so much for asking. Next one, I know we got to go. Where do you want to clearly define your mission and your path? Okay, I'm not sure where, but one thing I would say is that you need to write it down. Or when, maybe it was when, I don't know. I don't know if it's where or when. I can't quite make out the question. But if you're asking me, how do you ultimately define your mission and your path? What you do is, like I said, you actually look. One of the best things I learned in college was internships. Internships taught me what I didn't want to do so I can figure out what I wanted to do. So even in your career, as you try different things, make a list of things that you like and things that you don't like. That is going to organically help you create the path to ultimately move yourself forward and make some things happen. So it's critically important that when you're defining your mission, your path, but like I said, you got to know you. So what do you really like? What do you like about the actuarial profession? What motivates you? Is it just, are you doing it just for the money? Or are you doing it because you want to make change? Does it, some individuals have a great social conscience, and they don't want us to be, victim to, enormous and alarming, interest rates and things because of the color of our skin. So you can make it a social activism call. It doesn't matter. Whatever you are passionate about, whatever you care about, tap into those things, lean into those things. And that's how you're going to be able to chart out your mission and your vision. All right. I believe this is the last question that I have. How do you reprogram your mind, especially if you've always been told that you can't achieve anything and that you're in an environment that is not supportive? Woo, baby. Great question. So let me tell you this. I'm gonna tell you my philosophy, number one. My philosophy is this, and I know that different people believe different things, but I want to tell you this, is that at the end of the day, I really do believe that God wired us for success. We came here wired for success. And I believe that society has programmatically programmed us to fail. I'm gonna say that again. God wired us for success, but society has literally programmed us to fail. And like the anonymous person that just shared that comment or that question, I understand that. I've been told before that you can't do that. That's insane. Why would you want to do that, Chris? You're not, do you know who you are? Do you know what you look like? Do you know where you come from? All that kind of stuff, that it's unattainable. But let me tell you something that I understood. I understood this, that at the end of the day, the way that you get past that is that you model success and that you find out what successful people have done before you. So let me tell you this. There's 3 questions I want you to write down. So when you're thinking of whenever you feel like your environment is not supportive, whenever you feel like you can't win, whenever you have to feel the need to reprogram your mind, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Number 1, ask yourself, what do you really want? What do you want? What do you really want in life? Number 2, not only what do you want, but why do you want what you want? Because I'm gonna tell you something, reasons come first and answers come second. Because if you're able to tap in and understand and lean into the reasons why you want the things that you desire, you will understand and the answers will ultimately become clear to you. And the third thing is not so much focus. So now you know what you want and why you want, not so much focus on how to get what you want. Use that same word, how, change those letters around, and 3 who's come up. 3 who's are this. Who's done exactly what you want to do before you? Because guess what? I believe this. If somebody else can do it, you can do it as well. If you don't believe it, I'm telling you right now, if someone else has done whatever it is before you, you can and will do it if you so desire. Henry Ford said it. He said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way. So I want you to be right the right way. So understand, number 1, who's done whatever you want to do before, because success leaves clues. The second who is, who do you have on your power team? If you feel like you don't have a supportive environment or individuals around you, tap in, lean into your IABA community, lean into other support groups, fraternities, sororities, other professional societies, etc., of people that look like you and care about some of the same things. Find a meetup group, do whatever you got to do to reach out and get some assistance, right? Because that network of people, right? Once again, talking about networking earlier, that network and that community is going to be able to encourage you and really push you. And then the last question, I think the last who is this. At the end of the day, ask yourself, as I said earlier in this presentation, who do I need to become to attract what I really desire and what I want in my life? And you got to ask yourself, who do you need to become? So guess what that requires? No longer take this down, scratch it out. No more stinking thinking. No more stinking thinking. You have to make a conscious decision that I am not going to allow these external factors to affect me internally. And I'm going to connect, because like I said, there's power in proximity and there's power in connection. And I'm going to connect and get, as we would say, the theme of this conference, a clear connection to be the bridge between what I want and where I ultimately want to be. So having said that, guys, wow. Woo, I think I did a flurry of questions. I think we've cleared the queue out. Guys, I hope that you all had an amazing time with me today. Once again, the free resources available to you at chrisondemand.com. All of my contact information is here. I love you all. I'm so grateful. Like I said, 10 years strong, baby. 10 years rocking with y'all. I want to rock with y'all for 10 times 100 more. I pray that you all have a wonderfully blessed day. Don't forget, today, 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a virtual networking session. Come, please. Make sure and invite your friends and all that kind of great stuff. Make sure that you're on. We're going to have an amazing and incredible time. And I'm so grateful, so grateful to be able to serve you guys. And I can't wait to continue to see your progression and your development. God bless you all. Have a super fantastic and most excellent day. And Chris Cooper, out.